somebody has probably given you the following advice. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Now here's the thing. If that metaphor is true, then I don't like it. I don't want to spend the rest of my career running, and the only advice you get is just keep going. But that doesn't sound right. Some of us are stuck in training. You learn and you keep learning and you never do anything with it. Others are stuck on race day, meaning you keep producing output, go back and produce some more. And almost none of us know how this whole recovery phase works. By the time we hit it, it's usually too late. And in this video, I want to flip the script with you. It's not about how to be more productive. It's how to become a Olympic athlete. It's going through the 3 different modes: the training mode, the performance mode, and the recovery mode. We talk about why PhD students usually get stuck in the training mode, why postdocs are usually stuck in the performance mode, and why nobody thinks about recovery until it's too late. But let's talk about what that actually means. An athlete, they do have training days. That's where they improve their strength, where they improve their skills. They also have race days or match days where they perform to the best of their ability. And then afterwards, they have a few days of recovery. If any of those parts are missing, then the whole system is going to go down. In academia, it's not that different. We often talk about productivity, output, and the daily grind. We in very vague terms talk about the training, but that's usually in the form of read more, learn more, do more. And when we talk about recovery, it's usually because one of us is in crisis. But the brain is quite often referred to as a muscle. And just like any other muscle, if we constantly use it under high strain, we shouldn't be surprised when it hurts. Let's talk about the train mode. That's where most PhD students and honestly some postdocs are in. I see this all the time. You take one course after another, learn a method after another. You always have this one method that if you learn it, you'll be prepared. But ultimately you spend all the time just learning new stuff, endlessly preparing, and never actually producing. This training place can easily become a hiding place. When you prefer the safety of learning just out of fear of failing. We've all been there. It's a very natural progression in academia, but you should make sure it's not just avoidance in disguise. In this place, you always keep learning, never finishing. There are a couple of signs that you can see that this is happening to you. If you have a dozen projects that are half finished, that's a good sign for that. If you keep moving the starting line, that's probably avoidance. And if you're in this constant loop of preparation, just one more thing to prepare and then I can finally start, that's also a good indicator. Now, this can happen to anyone, not just early PhD students or early postdocs. It can happen throughout your entire academic career. But I'll tell you what, being stuck in train, it hurts. There's no feedback loop. You really feel invisible to others. And the doubt and frustration that come with it, they can be soul crushing. Most of us break out of this pain by moving into performance. It's the spot where you're just writing another paper, another grant. You do some teaching, you give some talks, and it's just output all the time. But guess what? There's another deadline. There will be another email, and you're never quite done. Every week just seems so urgent that your life depends on it, and your inbox is never empty. But most importantly, there's no off switch. Performance becomes your whole life. Output becomes your new identity. There are no weekends, and there's no way of really shutting your brain off. And if you do this long enough, there's this one question that will creep in. Am I even cut out for this? At this point, you're probably tired all the time, and you're likely going to question your ability to do anything. No matter how much success you've achieved, it will always creep up. And you start blaming yourself unfairly, because in academia, who else is to blame except for ourselves? Now here's the thing that nobody teaches you, the thing that you need in order to break this cycle. The recovery period. It's the mode that nobody teaches. Rest is a skill. Athletes normalize it. In academia, it's considered a sign of weakness, but it shouldn't be. We are all humans, not robots, and we need this recovery period. We've all heard it before, and I've ignored it for way too long. You need some movement, you need good sleep, you need some real time off regularly so your brain can actually take a break. The problem in academia is you hear all these stories. People that say, I work 7 days a week. I don't need sleep. I only need 3 hours a night and I function. I just work twice as hard as everyone else to get where I need to be. But in all honesty, there's just guilt about slowing down. There doesn't need to be the guilt. And despite the warning signs, waking up tired, constant aches, loss of excitement, we still keep doing it. For some people, it runs deeper though. It turns into hopelessness. If that resonates with you, let me tell you, you're not weak. This is the point where a video just isn't enough. A YouTube video is not therapy. If that is you, please value yourself enough and go and talk to someone. Now let's do something about it. We're scientists, we're researchers, so what do? We run experiments. Let's look for some tiny shifts that we can make instead of burning it all down. With every single experiment, we get some new data about reality. It allows us to adjust and hopefully avoid this all or nothing phase. But before we can start, you need to figure out what your default mode is. Are you stuck in training or are you stuck in performance? Go ahead and label your pattern. And I'll leave a link in the description below to a quiz that I created that might help you with that. If you're stuck in training mode, try one of these small changes. Ship a tiny draft or share some incomplete work and ask for some real feedback. This moves you from constantly learning to getting your feet wet with the actual production. If you're stuck in performance mode, you can also make some small changes. Go ahead and protect 1 hour of your week. Don't schedule anything for it and just see what happens. Alternatively, you can schedule yourself a skill block, a period of time where you actually go back into the training mode and learn something new. There's something very refreshing about learning something while you're actually in performance mode. I still remember it from the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, where the author talked about production and production capability and how both of them are necessary in order to live a balanced life. So every now and then when I feel stuck, when things are starting to get to me, I always ask myself, is it time to switch to the other mode? You will not believe what kind of an impact this can have on your life. Now let's talk about recovery mode. Chances are pretty high you're not stuck there. It's the inverse problem. We don't make enough time for it. So here's something to try. Small changes. Take a couple of 5-minute breaks throughout the day. Give yourself 1 weeknight that's completely laptop free. And most importantly, try to get enough sleep. This could just be an earlier bedtime. Now throughout your career, you will need a mix of these 3 modes. The training, the performance, and the rest. There are entire seasons that require different ratios. They're dynamic. They're just not fixed. But most importantly, you will need to find your own ratios, your own seasons that work for you. Generally speaking, your PhD will be a season heavy in training. Your postdoc will be a season heavy in performance. And after every storm, you will need a season heavy in recovery. Importantly, don't neglect the other modes. As you go through your entire research career, you need all 3 of them in order to stay sustainable. And the best place to start is naming the pattern, not blaming yourself. You don't need to blame yourself that you're stuck in training. You don't need to blame yourself that you're stuck in performance. Recognize it. Be kind to yourself and start with small steps. And in general, treat your brain kindly. You need it for a long time.